Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Stats with Ahili, and this is your friend Ahili Bhattacharya. And today we are going to cover one of the most important and very interesting topic of all statistics, that is normal distribution. Now you might be thinking that this is another bell curve lecture, but trust me, by the end of this video, you're not just going to learn what is normal distribution, but you're going to understand why it looks like the way it does and how does it work, what is the MGF, and we are going to derive that MGF from scratch, okay? So that it helps in your exams. Now, so we are going to do that step by step, right? So grab your notebook and let us start with the video. Now, coming here, see, this is the contents that we are going to do today in our class. That is, first we are going to start with the definition and the PDF. Then we'll come to properties of normal distribution. Then we will do derivation of the MGF. Then we will derive the mean and variance from the MGF. And then I will just make a small summary of what we have learned. Okay. Now coming to the first section. Now look at here. What is a normal distribution? Okay, so let us start from the very beginning. Imagine you are measuring the heights of 10,000 people. Like some are very short, some are very tall, but most people cluster around some average height. If you plot that as a frequency curve, you will get a beautiful symmetric bell shaped curve. That curve, that is the normal distribution. And just now what I've said is one of the application of normal distribution. Okay, so now formally, what is it? See, look at here. A random variable x is said to follow a normal distribution if its probability density function, or pdf, is given by, this is the formula which you need to remember. That is, f of x is equals to 1 by root over 2 pi into sigma into e to the power minus half of x minus mu by sigma whole squared. Okay, now this is valid for, this is the condition that x will range from minus infinity to plus infinity, mu will range from minus infinity to plus infinity, and sigma will be strictly greater than 0. And we will write that compactly like this. This is the notation, okay? That is, x follows normal mu comma sigma square, which simply means that x is normally distributed with mean u and variance sigma square. Now let us break down what these two parameters actually mean visually. See, this is the mu. The mu is the mean, right? It is the center of the bell. The peak of the curve sits exactly at x equals to mu. If you shift the mu left, the bell moves left. If you shift it right, the bell moves right. Okay. Now, what is the function of sigma? Sigma squared. Sigma squared is the variance. We all know that. It controls how spread out the bell is. Large sigma means a wide flat bell, and small sigma means a tall narrow bell. Okay, so two numbers mu and sigma square completely describes the shape and position of this curve. That is so elegant for normal distribution, right? Now coming to the next part. Look, this is the normal distribution, but this should be like asymptotic. That is, the lines would not touch here, and the bell, it would be looking like a bell-shaped curve. Okay, not such peak here. All right, this is just a visual thing which I wanted to show. This is just a clarification that there will be some of the changes. Okay, now coming to the next part, which is the properties of normal distribution. Now let's go through the key properties one by one. These are important, okay? They come up in every exam, like every application is important. So let us look at the first property. Property 1 is bell shaped and symmetric. The curve is shaped like a bell and is perfectly symmetric about the vertical line x equals to mu. This is a very important, which holds great meaning. What does symmetric mean here? It means if you fold the curve along the line x equals to mu, both halves match perfectly. Okay, that left tail is a mirror image of the right tail. Just that. This is not just a visual property, it has very deep mathematical consequences, which we will see in the next properties. Okay, now look at property number 2. Property number 2 is saying that mean is equals to median is equals to mode is equals to mu. What does this mean? This means that because of this perfect symmetry, all three measures of central tendency, the mean, median, and mode, all are equal to mu. Think about it. The mode is the peak, which is, and that's at mu, right? The median divides the area into two equal halves. By symmetry, that's also at mu. And the mean is a balancing point, again mu. And because of this, the skewness is zero. This distribution is perfectly balanced, not leaning left or leaning right. Okay, this is balanced curve. Now coming to the next property which I can see, that is the mesocurtic. The coefficient of skewness is zero. We just covered that. But there's another shape measure called kurtosis, which we have learned in semester 1, right, which tells us about the peakness of the distribution. Quick side note which I want to say, that you can see here, here also, beta 1 uses the third moment and measures the skewness. Beta 2 uses the fourth moment and measures kurtosis. And just to anchor this, the first moment is the mean. Okay, these are some the side note which I wanted you to remember, because these things we learned in semester 1. For the normal distribution, beta 2 is equals to 3. This is called mesocurtic. And what is mesocurtic? That is a baseline. That is not too peaked, not too flat. Okay, right in the middle. Okay, now coming to the next property, which is all odd centered central moments is equals to zero. This is a direct consequence of symmetry. The first central moment, the third, the fifth, all are zero. Why? Now, this is a natural question, like why? Because in a symmetric distribution, for every deviation that is plus d from the mean, there's an equal and opposite deviation minus d. Okay, so when you raise these to an odd power and add them up, they cancel out perfectly. So every odd central moment vanishes. Okay, now coming to the next property, look at here. This is property number 5, that is asymptotic. The curve approaches the x axis as x goes to plus or minus infinity, but it never actually touches it. I was talking about that, right? Like how it does not touch the baseline, that is the x axis. Now it extends to infinity in both directions, but the tails get infinitely thin. There is always some probability, no matter how far you go. This is what asymptotic means: approaching but never reaching. Okay, now coming to the most important part of today's lecture, that is the derivation of MGF. Now, this is where it gets really fun, because now we are going to derive the moment generating function of the normal distribution completely from scratch. Now, here we are going to understand why does the MGF matter, because once you have the MGF, you can find the mean, the variance just by differentiating. We have learned that in different distributions also. No separate calculations needed. It's a one-stop shop, that is the MGF. Okay. Now here I just wanted to show you that what is MGF, how is it defined. M of t is equals to mxt, also you can write. Okay. It is written as expectation of e to the power tx. Here it is a continuous distribution, so we will write it to be integral of e to the power tx dot fx dot dx from minus infinity to plus infinity. Then we will do what is that f of x? F of x is the PDF, right? So we will just substitute the normal PDF and then we will go on. Okay, just a moment that I change my slide. Now let us start with deriving the MGF, right? Now, as I have told you already, let me write it down. So we are going to do the MGF. Okay. Now, what is the formula for MGF? Let me write that down. From 0 to infinity, we are doing e to the power tx dot f of x dot dx. Okay, this is what we are trying to calculate. Now, what is the f of x? F of x is the PDF, right? What was the PDF? 1 by root over 2 pi into sigma into e to the power minus half of whole x minus mu by sigma whole squared. Okay, so let me write that down. What I'm saying is that, see, 0 to infinity e to the power tx into 1 by root over 2 pi sigma into e to the power minus half x minus mu by sigma whole squared dot dx. Okay, this is what we are going to deal with. Now, if we are going to deal with this, then this part x minus mu by sigma is quite some little bit looking like a difficult part, right? So let us substitute that, like let this x minus mu by sigma be z or something. Let us take z only. So let x minus mu by sigma is equals to z. Then from here we can see what will be the x here. X will be equals to sigma z plus mu, right? And then what will be the d of x? Then d of x will be what? Sigma dz, right? This, that is the d of x. Now here we will just mention for what value we are taking, what is the range. Okay, so let me mention it, you will also mention it. Okay, in the exam copy you just need to mention that when x is equals to minus infinity and z is equals to minus infinity, and here when x equals to infinity and z is equals to infinity. Okay, now next you want to do what? You need to substitute this value into the exponent. Okay, what is the exponent here? This e, again see here, this e and e is same, so we can see that we can take the base common and then we can do the operations, right? So if we take the base common, then what will be the exponent? Let me write it. Now substitute into the exponent. What is the exponent? It will be tx minus half of this, right? So exponent will be tx minus half of x minus mu by sigma whole square. Now here we can write, we will substitute the values. So let us do that. What is the x here? X is sigma z plus mu, which we have already derived, right? So let me write it. T into sigma z plus mu, and then minus of, and this whole thing was z only, that is what we took it, we put it that way. So it will be half of z square. Okay, now let us do further calculation, like t sigma z plus t of mu, okay, minus half of z squared. Okay, now here what happens? If I make the exponent like this, then what happens to the integral? Now the integral will look like something. Now see, look at here. In this part, what can we take out? We can take out this 1 over root over 1 by root over 2 pi and sigma, because that is a constant, right? So if I take out that, and now I will put in the exponent value what we have derived right now, this is the exponent value, and then let us see that what is the form it takes. Okay, so let me write. So the integral becomes, like I'm doing it very step by step, I'm not doing it in one step. Okay, like I'm first calculating the integral, I mean the exponents, then I'm coming back to the integral. Okay, like that, so that it is very easier for you to understand. So the integral becomes, what does it become? 1 by, I'm taking out the constant, 1 by root over 2 pi sigma integral of 0 to infinity e to the power, this is the exponent. Okay, this is the exponent, so let me write it, e to the power mu t plus sigma tz, okay, minus half of z square dot sigma dz, right? What is the d of x? D of x is sigma dz, as you can see. Now from here, can you cancel out this sigma and this sigma? You can do it. So now you are left with what? 1 by root over 2 pi. Now you can see that this e to the power mu t, e to the power mu t is again another constant form, so we can take that again outside. So what will be the next step? It will be e to the power minus mu t, e to the power mu t by root over 2 pi, and integral of e 0 to infinity e to the power, we are left with what? Minus, if we just take out this and we reforming this part, so it will be minus half z minus sigma t square plus sigma square t square by 2. Okay, this is the form that we are getting. Now the next part is, just we are taking the this e to the power sigma square t square by 2 again outside. Okay, if I take that outside, because that is again another constant, right? So let me just take that outside, I am not making another step. Okay, e to the power mu t by root over 2 pi into e to the power sigma square t square by 2. and integral of minus infinity to infinity. Okay, I'm sorry. This is not from 0 to infinity, okay? This will be from minus infinity to infinity only. I have written 0 to infinity. The range is minus infinity to infinity, right? Okay. So minus infinity to infinity. Here we are left with this part, that is e to the power minus half of z minus sigma t whole squared dot dz, right? So this is what we are left with. Now what should be the next step? Next step will be, if I take this part again something, if I let this z minus sigma t to be suppose u, okay, then what happens? Let us see that. Let u is equals to u, this is u, okay, u is equals to z minus sigma t. Then what happens? Then du will be equals to dz. Okay, now if you calculate it, if you can understand that du will be equals to dz only, then we can say that, see, this will be the next step. Then we are just substituting this part to be u. Then here we are coming to be e to the power mu t by root over 2 pi into e to the power sigma square t square by 2, and integral of minus infinity to infinity e to the power minus half u square dot du. Okay, now next step will be what? Now see, this part which we have got, this portion, which we have got, this is a standard result. Okay, this integral of minus infinity to infinity e to the power minus half u square dot du is basically root over 2 pi. Okay, this is a standard result which you need to remember. Okay, so you just write it down like this, like standard result is what? This portion will be root over 2 pi. Okay, so integral of minus infinity to infinity e to the power minus half u square dot du is equals to root over 2 pi. So this is a standard result. Now if I put this in this portion, if I put it to be 2 pi, then you can see a very nice thing, that this numerator and denominator will get cancelled. So let us see, let us do that. So it is equals to e to the power mu t by root over 2 pi into e to the power sigma square t square by 2 into 2 pi, the root over 2 pi, right? So now here we can see that this root over 2 pi and root over 2 pi gets cancelled. Then we are left with only this numerator part. So here basically what will be the mgf then? E to the power, I'm sorry, excuse me, just got a little bit of cold. Okay, okay, now coming to what I was showing, that is, now what is the mgf then? What did we derive? That is e to the power mu t plus, you can write half of sigma square t square. This looks more clean, right? So this is what our mgf looks like. So we have derived the mgf from scratch. Now we are going to derive the mean from it. Okay, how we are going to derive the mean? We are going to differentiate it once, and then we will set the t to be 0. Now from here, this is a power of the exponents, like e to the power something, right? And there is a specific, very specific formula for how to differentiate the e to the power something, like e to the power f of t. So how do we differentiate that? We will do what? First we will differentiate the exponent, okay, f dash t, and then we will write whatever there is given here, that is e to the power f of t. Okay, this is a very standard thing which you have already learned, how to differentiate these e to the power something. Okay, so let me first write it what we need to do, then we will come. Okay, okay, this is now I'm trying to derive the mean from the mgf. Let me write the formula, that is the standard formula. The standard formula, that is d by dt of e to the power f of t. I'm very sorry for my running nose. Okay, e to the power f of t is equals to f dash t dot e to the power f of t. So this is basically a standard result. Now you are going to apply this to differentiate the mgf. Okay, now see, next will be what? Mxt will be e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. This is our mgf, right? Now we are going to differentiate first the exponent. If you want to differentiate the exponent, that is f dash t, it will be equals to what? We are differentiating in terms of t, right? So it will be mu plus half of sigma square 2t. Now this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. 2 and 2 are getting cancelled. Then we are left with what? Mu plus sigma square t. Now in the next part, when we are going to try finding the variance, I'm not going to show you this step by step, like half of sigma square 2t. How, why is it 2t? Because it is coming down the exponent and everything. So just remember the standard thing, that is, it will be mu plus sigma square by t. That can be seen from naked eyes only. Anyway, so now coming to the next part. So this is the exponents differentiation. Now what will be the full thing, that is m dash xt? M dash xt will be equals to, first we are going to write this thing. So mu plus sigma square t into e to the power the whole thing. Okay, that is the whole thing. This is f dash t into e to the power f of t, right? So whole thing, that is e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. So this is our m dash xt. Now we are going to set t to be 0. If I put t to be 0, then we will get the mean. Okay, so let me see what do we get here. M dash x 0, that is mu plus sigma square into 0 into e to the power mu 0 plus half of sigma square 0 square. I have written this in different color, the 0, so it will be very easy for you to understand what is the 0 here and how are we going to apply it. So basically, if you are going to see that you are, this is what, mu plus 0, and this is what? This is nothing, just e to the power 0 only. E to the power 0 is 1, and then the answer will be mu. So you have to remember that the mean of normal distribution is just mu. Okay, that is all. And the variance is sigma square only, nothing else. But here, if your exam coordinator asks a question like derive the mean and variance from the mgf, then this is the reason which we are studying. Okay, so here, from here, from the mgf we have derived the mean. Now the next step is we have to derive the variance. Now how will you derive the variance? This thing, this m dash xt, you are going to differentiate this again. Okay, after differentiating that again, you are going to put the t to be 0, and then you're going to get the variance. Okay, so just a moment. Now for differentiating this part again, what you need to do, what is the core idea? The core idea which I can see from here is that we have to apply the product rule. How we are applying the product rule? Like this part will be the u and this part will be the v. Okay, then what is the product rule? That is u dot v whole dash is equals, whole differentiating is equals to u dash v plus uv dash. Okay, so that is the main idea how you are going to differentiate it. So just let me write it once again, so that it will be very easy for you to understand. Let me show you. See, product rule, we are going to apply the product rule. Okay, how we are going to do it? What is m dash xt? M dash xt is equals to u plus sigma square t dot e to the power, that is multiplied e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. So this part will be our u and this part will be our v. Okay, and what is the product rule? Product rule is basically u dot v whole dash is equals to u dash v plus uv dash. Okay, this is a very standard method and very simple thing which we are doing since like past 2 3 years. So anyway, this is very simple. Now let me do it. Now from here, first let me do the u dash. What is u dash? U dash, here this is our u, right? And we are differentiating it with respect of t. So we are getting what? Only sigma square, because u is a constant, and here we are differentiating with t, so it will be sigma square. Okay, now coming to the v dash. Now for here again you can see that v dash will be, first we need to differentiate the f dash t, that is this exponent. Then we are going to keep the whole exponent, whatever there is given in the next part. Okay, so first, for this what you need to write, mu t plus half of sigma square t square. We have already learned that it will be mu plus, as you can see here, mu plus sigma square t, right? So let me write it, mu plus sigma square t into e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. So from here we have got the both u dash and v dash, and we know the u and v, then we can apply directly the product rule. So let me write it. Okay, m double dash xt is equals to what? First is u dash v, right? What is u dash? It is sigma square. And what is v? V is this part, that is e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. Okay, u dash v done. Now we are going to do what? U and v dash. What is u? U is this mu plus sigma square t, right? And v is this v dash is this part, right? So it will be what? Plus mu plus sigma t square into, this is mu, right? Mu plus sigma square t, and then what? Mu plus sigma square t again, dot, that is what is there left? E to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. Okay, so this is another part. Now look at here. From here we can directly see that mu plus sigma square t and mu plus sigma square t both are the same term. So we can just write it as 1, and we can do the exponent 2, right? So let me write it again. That is, let me write it more nicely. It will be what? Sigma square e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. Okay, this is done. Just a moment. This is u dash v. Okay, plus this part plus mu plus sigma square t whole squared, and e to the power mu t plus half of sigma square t square. Okay, and now next step is what? You need to put the t to be 0. Now if you put the t to be 0 here, then what happens? M dash double dash x 0 is equals to sigma square e to the power mu 0 plus half of sigma square 0 square plus mu plus sigma square 0 whole squared, then e to the power mu 0 plus half of sigma square 0 square. Okay, so this is what is happening if we put the t to be 0. Now if you see, then it will be what? Sigma square into e to the power 0. The whole thing will be sigma square into e to the power 0 plus mu plus sigma square plus 0 is 0 only. Then we are getting what? Mu square dot e to the power, it will be again what? 0, right? So we are getting e to the power 0, that is 1. So sigma square plus mu square, this is what we are getting as the m double dash x 0. Now how will you find the variance? Variance is what? M double dash x 0 minus m dash x 0 whole squared, right? That is e expectation of x's whole squared minus expectation of x's, or expectation of x squared minus expectation of x's whole squared, right? So let me just write it. What is the variance? Therefore, variance will be, variance is equals to m double dash x 0 minus m dash x 0. This is whole squared. Hey, what is happening? Okay, whole squared. Now see, what is m double dash x 0? That is sigma square plus mu square, and minus, what did we get? The mean. Mean is mu only. So mu squared. it will be sigma squared plus mu squared minus mu squared. It will be only sigma squared. So as I have said, that the mean is mu here and variance is sigma squared. So this is very simple for normal distribution, and which is very easy to remember, right? Now, as I know that integral looks very scary, and we have simplified it further, and we have rewrote every term and completed the integral form. We have used the standard results, and we have found the mean and variance from the MGF, right? So that is all for the conceptual part for today's lecture. Now coming to the summary part, just a moment. Okay, so as you can see here, that here also I have written everything, that mean and variance, how do you find it from the MGF. And next we are just completing the quick reference summary. Okay, so what is the, let us recap what we did today. We started with the definition of the normal distribution and its PDF. We understood the two parameters, mu as the center, sigma squared as the spread. We walked through five key properties, that is symmetry bell shaped and equal mean median mode and mesokurtic zero or central moments and asymptotic tails. Okay, and then we derived the MGF completely from scratch using substitution, completing the square and the Gaussian integral, that is the root over 2 pi, and used it to prove that the mean is mu and variance is sigma squared. That is a complete picture of the normal distribution, that is you have not just memorized but understood, right? If this helped you, please like this video and subscribe. Drop any questions in the comments, I will read every single one. And see you in the next class. Bye bye, take care, and keep studying, keep being curious.